Kelly, just talk to us a bit about your tour, Kellie-Jay, and what you hope to say when you're out here.
Well, it's called Let Women Speak, and the idea of Let Women Speak is to go in a variety of places in Australia and in New Zealand and allow women to speak about what is happening to them, how they've been silenced, how they feel just totally gaslit by the state. And so it's just really about creating a space for those women to speak.
Rita?
But you've got all sorts of opposition. You are constantly, I saw J.K. Rowling highlighted some of the abuse you've been receiving in the last 24 hours, I think it was, the threats against your life. And meanwhile, we've got a Greens MP here writing to the immigration minister trying to get your visa revoked. I mean, what can you do to fight back against this sort of oppression?
Well, literally just to speak. I think when women's voices, or any voices that are concerned with the creep of transgender ideology in our schools, in our medical systems, and in everywhere that you would expect to be protected from such nonsense, you know, women just really need to speak. And so these men are very, very afraid. They're afraid of what we'll say, because once we say it, once it's in the ether, people will agree, and this whole thing will just stop.
James?
But how did this wind up becoming, Kellie-Jay, almost a state religion, this doctrine of sort of transgender ideology, the ideology around it, to the point where, you know, in the UK, and have no doubt that this is coming here to Australia, people are visited by the police, they're threatened with arrest, threatened with fine, threatened with jail time, for essentially heretical statements, heretical speech against a particular idea. Now, surely, in one of the birthplace of Enlightenment countries like the UK, this sort of thing should be abhorrent to the left, and yet they have embraced this whole hog. Why?
Well, who knew the left was so riddled with misogyny? I certainly didn't until about 2015, but it does seem that the authoritarian left is rising so very rapidly. And I think it's because actually the real problems are very difficult to solve. It's very difficult to make sure our young people are well educated. It's difficult to make sure everyone can actually have a house to live in. And so corporations all over the world and governments, they've decided that the best way to pretend that they're dealing with actual issues is to create them and then pretend that everyone cares about them. And people generally don't. Like, not many people care about how people feel subjectively about themselves. We care about truth and reality, and it's just virtue signaling. So it's an easy thing to solve. It's an easy thing to manifest. And it's much easier than making sure that people have enough to eat and in the UK can heat their homes.